I'm a brother from a different mother.
It seems that way. I think we both need a light today.
Wow. Right in the background, maybe?
I'm gonna go and get that light. And then I'm gonna put this.
Hello, everybody. Is anybody out there?
Hello, hello.
We're just trying to get some light on the subject. Technical difficulties, we're still trying to figure it out.
The lighting. I think we need to get one of those white lights, I think.
I think so.
All in due time. You know, one day at a time, right? Hi, everybody. We are just setting up. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Where do you live?
Where do we live?
I live in Palm Desert.
In Palm Desert,
but
right?
You live in Palm. No, you live in Lakeside.
Yeah, but I mean, have you walked outside?
I try not to.
It feels like the jungles of Vietnam or Panama or something like that.
I don't even think that they're that bad.
I don't know. It's pretty bad.
People say, like, you know, like, for example, my friends from Florida, you know, because the humidity there and it's hot, they usually say, oh, the heat is like 90 and with humidity.
Right.
But we got like, what, 110 with humidity.
But they say this is dry heat.
But it's dry heat.
It might be dry to them because coming from 90 to 100% humidity, I can understand that. But to us West Coasters, to us desert rats, this is nowhere mean. I mean, I think it was 70% humidity when I left for my bike ride this morning at 5.
70%?
70% when I left for my bike ride. I walked out my garage. I said, what am I doing? Got all suited up, got my bike, walked out in the driveway. I said, what am I doing? Got on my bike, pedaled the coffee bean, dripping sweat. What am I doing? I continued up Highway 74. What am I doing? Time to go home.
My gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty bad today. Really bad, actually. But it's just, you know, I always go on Garmin and I leave a message for my trainer. And today I told him, I was just talking to the Pika. This time last year, I was in Ohio riding my bike across America. In Ohio, Missouri, Illinois, all that. And I experienced a lot of heat and humidity on that ride. But honestly, it's nothing like I'm experiencing today. It just sucks the life right out of me. So, you know, you could say maybe it's because I'm getting older, but I'm not going to say that.
I don't believe it is.
I don't believe it is.
Is anybody here in the desert really struggling with this heat? I am. Yeah. I've not slept the past 2 nights.
So.
Oh, no, we don't want this.
You know, you could say maybe.
What I do need is to share it. Hi, who joined us?
Nobody yet.
Somebody did join us. They came in and out.
They came in and out?
Yeah.
Oh. Join us. We're going to continue the conversation from last week. Some things that have transpired with myself this week. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Topeka's going to do it in a way of, do you do it?
Yeah, they're not on your page and on Change Your Life Story now. Okay.
So.
Good morning. I don't know who's joined us, but thank you, whoever you are, for joining us. This is Deepika Patel and
Randy Boyd,
and we are Love Your Life Story, and we have come together today on our weekly live feed. Today we're going to be talking about coping mechanisms, continuing the conversation of coping mechanisms and our inner critic or inner voice, and just having a dialogue about that. So before we do, though, we're going to ask if you are watching us from any of our pages, from whether it's my personal page, Randy's personal page, business page, click on to Love Your Life Story and like us and then join us from that live feed, because at some point we're going to stop doing the sharing and we're going to do it just from our business page, Love Your Life Story. It's a beautiful day. It's Thursday, of course.
It's Thursday.
You know, we're going towards the end of the week.
Yeah.
If you have any questions through this conversation today, please ask us questions, interact with us. That's the whole point of us being here and live and talking. We are here to start a conversation. As you know, Courageous Healer's tagline is to start the conversation. Oh, you don't have to start a conversation t-shirt.
No.
I thought that was the fashion statement.
Oh, you like the fashion statement?
I do.
Oh.
Start a
Well,
conversation.
maybe I ought to start wearing them when we do these live feeds.
Yeah, I think
I was
so.
just trying to look a little nice,
We should,
with
what
a
do we-
polo shirt. And,
Oh, but we should do it in a polo shirt.
well,
Some point.
we probably should do that. Yeah. Create a feeling
Some
and
few other
color.
colors maybe.
Yeah. we could do that.
Variety,
Variety of colors, yeah.
we even though I
As we-
love the royal blue, the dark blue.
Well, the royal blue represents abuse. That's
Yeah.
why we do it in the royal blue.
Yeah.
So
It's a
of
powerful
any
color.
kind.
Yeah.
Although Randy's primary focus is the sexual abuse of men, but
Mhm.
we focus on all of it. The foundation
Yeah.
is going to focus on all of it. We just changed a little bit.
Well, I focus on trauma,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think that's a part of it. We both have our own experiences that we're sharing from, as well as our own credentials that we've experienced over the past however many years that has been. And we just appreciate you joining us. So, starting off, Randy and I, we connect and we do a lot of discussions and we have a lot of talks and we have debates and disagreements and agreements and, agree to disagree conversations. And that's the beauty of life. I think when we really get to a point in our life where we can be ourselves and be authentic and be vulnerable and share, and even be aware of when we get triggered in those shares, even with someone that we do trust and we do have that respect and being able to be vulnerable with, things do still come up. So we've had a really interesting, Randy and I, we're nowhere by means perfect in any way or form.
Speak for yourself, man.
Hey, are you perfect, Randy? Can you see
No.
Can you see the halo?
A lot of people do, believe it or not.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But that's not perfect.
That still doesn't mean that you're perfect. Right?
No, I'm not perfect.
We
I
still,
don't want to be perfect.
no, I'm glad that I am who I am. I'm able to
Yeah.
see things from wherever I can see them from and talk from.
Who I am. Glad I am who I am. I don't like some of the feelings all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but that's life.
Mm-hmm.
But I was with my doctor today, and she said, I can't complain about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Just really, it's not fair for me to complain. My life is great. However,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling real good right now. And that's the truth of the matter.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, that's the beauty about being your authentic self, not having to hide those feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And be
know.
able to see it. And, so again, is that conversation of being able to do it with someone that you care for and knowing that you're not going to get kicked to the curb and thrown aside, even when it comes to a point where someone disagrees with something, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get kicked to the side and that's going to be it. I do want to start off. So, from the conversation that we were having last week, we were talking, like I said, coping mechanisms. And we didn't share this quote by Marianne Williams.
Marianne Williamson.
Marianne
Williamson. There you go. You got it.
Sleep deprived. That's what happens. Happens in general in my life. Anyway, so the quote that I want to read to you is, "One day I looked at something in myself that I had been avoiding because it was too painful. Yet once I did, I had an unexpected surprise. Rather than self-hatred, I was flooded with the compassion for myself because I realized the pain necessary to develop the coping mechanism to begin with."
Wow. I wrote that.
You did.
I put that in my book. And that's right now, it's like, wow,
It hits
the
home.
pain necessary to develop the coping mechanisms.
Mhm.
It takes pain. If we didn't have pain, we wouldn't need coping mechanisms.
No. And we wouldn't be able to understand love. I think if we didn't have pain, we wouldn't understand love
No.
the way we do. The way we're able to find that space of love. Not the love that we think that should be, not the commercial love, and not the love that society is teaching us to the way we should love. What love should look like in a relationship, in partnership. What love should look like with our children. not that kind of love, like
Right.
the real, the pure love,
Well, that kind of love tells me that I can only love my wife if she looks a certain way, if she does a certain stuff.
right?
You know,
And your
she
wife is
drives
the
a
same with
certain
you.
car.
If you have a certain job and if you have a certain credential,
I'd be
and
on the street.
maybe if you're a doctor or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Could you imagine all the people who would be on the street now without any partnership? If everybody felt like that way?
I'd be on the street right now.
You would.
I mean, doesn't matter about the 40 years that I busted my butt and supplied a lot of stuff, but
Right.
and this is the sad truth.
It is.
You know, on that point, I can remember in 2011 when I had finally decided to close the business. Right, I know a lot of people, a lot of business people, and I knew a lot of those business people were not doing business ethically to the best, you know, and a lot of those people, majority of those people, lost their businesses. Some of them even went to jail because they were living on a cash flow. As long as cash was coming in, they could spend whatever they wanted. And they finally caught them. But the saddest part is there's two parts of the sad part. One, I knew guys that lost everything, including their wives. Why? Because their wives were only hanging on because of the money. And when that went away, so did they.
Well, that's a term where gold diggers come from, I guess.
Well, you know, but okay, let's not keep it to women though. Also men.
But men, yeah,
I mean,
I
men gold
know
diggers out
I
there.
know people like
I mean,
that.
yeah, you know, so it could go both ways. And then I also knew people that could have done it because to them success was materialistic, was having all this and having a name and being important. And I can understand that because when we shut the doors in 2011, those that know me really close and intimately, the whole next year I was lost because even with all my recovery, when things got tight, I had my business. Hey, look at me, I'm successful. I got 80 employees. But when I lost all that, I had nothing.
Right.
So who's Randy Boyd? Who is Randy Boyd without Macon Construction? Okay, so this is, I mean, you know, you go to coping skills, and one of the coping skills is pick up the dang phone. And that's what I would do for days on end. Probably the last month, I was in my office every day. I don't quit. I don't know how to quit. I fight. Warehouse full of equipment, warehouse full of tools. And I would sit in my office crying. And I'd pick up the phone, and I had a circle of guys, businessmen that I would call.
Right.
You know, and they walked me through the process. And when I finally let it go, okay, it's gone. But it hit me so hard. I didn't realize how much I tied my identity to Macon Construction.
So who you like as who you are, right? Who people recognized you as.
And yet what's amazing is the people that are my healing and recovery circle, they didn't know that Randy. They knew the Randy like you know, right? They didn't know the Randy, the businessman that ran the business. They had no idea who that Randy was. They knew me in a different way, but all I knew, my identity was attached to that. So it's you're going through stuff every day. Who am I? What do I do? This is hard. There's a lost feeling, and so those coping skills, a lot of different coping skills come into play. Then a lot of meditation, a lot of journaling, a lot of picking up the phone, calling people, and talking to them about it. Look, we're human beings, and we're not meant to walk on this earth by ourselves.
No. Oh, definitely. For those of you who are in healing and who are going through steps, and you're having a wonderful life because you're spending a lot of time at home doing your journaling and doing your work, fantastic. I love it. But get out there, connect with people, and go through work with people, because that's when you'll start seeing where your growth has really grown, or whether you've just gone within yourself and you've created another problem because you think, okay, I don't need anybody and I can do it all on my own. I think that's a big part of healing, because people think, I know even people who are in the spiritual community who go, okay, I did all this work and I went into it, but then when they come into connecting with people and making a difference, and they struggle, because then they see again all that stuff that they've just, they thought they dealt with, but it's now becoming a reflection of themselves, and they come into situations or people or experience, however you want to say it, but it's the same stuff again.
The same stuff again is the big book about Alcoholics Anonymous is a phenomenal, 164 pages. It's a phenomenal spiritual book. It really is. And in there will come. You cannot transmit something you have not got.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know me, and I tell people, if you've got your own issues that you haven't dealt with, don't try to help somebody with those issues, because it could be devastating for both you and for that person.
Right.
That person could say something that's going to trigger you, a memory in you, and help you feel the minute we're sitting with somebody and they're talking about the trauma and they say something drastic and we flinch, they'll shut down. It's over with. It's like, oh, we can't talk about this. You know, and so we want to be able to sit with them through their pain and be able to help them walk through their pain. We can't do that if we haven't done it.
Yeah, because we're going to get uncomfortable.
Right.
People are going to get uncomfortable. And the thing is, there's a training also. I mean, like the truth is, and I always say to, my clients, I think the truth is, we all have, I don't care how, whether you're academically, with it or you're not, but we all do have that power where something is said to us and there is a passive judgment that goes by. We have a choice of whether we latch onto it or whether we just listen from an open place. And I think that's the truth. If someone's saying, okay, I don't judge, I don't think that's a true statement. Because I think it happens. I don't think it happens. It's not like, okay, oh, that person's really wrong, or that person, I can't believe that person said that. But it comes in for a moment and then you let it go. So I mean, I think I don't care, like that's what I'm saying, whether you're a therapist or whatever. But ultimately, the aim of the game is the confidentiality that you have with that individual. And that trust, and then in being that and can be there, you can just let that thought pattern go. We say, I know in certain teachings that I've been in, they say it's a train. Right. If we're supposed to have over 80,000 thoughts a day, right? You're not going to sit on every single train and go for a ride on all those 80,000 thoughts, are you?
No.
They're just coming and going, coming and going.
Half of them you don't even know they're happening.
Exactly. The other half, half of them the subconscious ones, right? So and this is what we need to be aware of in terms of that dialogue. But coming back to our conversation that we want to talk about today is about coping mechanisms. What Randy and I were talking, and Randy's just going through a bit of a part of in his journey and his healing, and this is where we're saying that, look, hey, here we are, and we want to be vulnerable and open, and want to share our experience, but also teach, of course. And in that, even though Randy takes his steps, I take my steps, and we also live life, and we're juggling multiple things around. We're family, and we have grandchildren on this side, children on this side. I mean, I don't have those things, but hey, I still have my own stuff, right? And in that, when we recognize that, we still go through ups and downs. Here I am, and I'm here live, and with the support of Randy, if I was in my own world and if I got caught up in my own coping mechanism and my own self-talk, the way I've been feeling today, I probably end up bailing on myself and going, okay, I'm not going to do the talk today, the way I'm feeling. But, it's only in community that it brings me in, and this is where we always say, okay, be accountable with somebody, connect with somebody, be accountable, take responsibility. We can't do those things on our own. And here's Randy, and he's come into the space today, and he was just sharing with me what he's going through. So we're going to kind of talk about it, and we're going to talk about some other stuff, that we talked about, so we talked about, in our last conversation, we just talked about maladaptive coping mechanisms that we've built over the years from our childhood. And at one point they served us, but we continue to use these maladaptive coping mechanisms, and they become patterns, behaviors, and are not supporting us anymore. And especially if you want to move forward and make a difference in your life. So we're going to be talking about positive coping mechanisms or constructive coping mechanisms. But even when we're going through the journey, we still can step back and forth. I mean, you still, in life, we're always going forward. Even though sometimes we feel like we're taking 10 steps back, the momentum is always forward. However, in this moment, when we look at it, sometimes feelings can be overwhelming and we don't know how to deal with them, and we don't know how to cope with them. And then that self-talk or that inner voice, the inner dialogues that end up happening, if we're not aware of them and we're not aware of how to articulate them, that can be something that can stop us in our tracks and how we want to develop and move forward. So Randy, we've been working together, as you guys know, for over a year and a half. So since last year's ride, before the ride, right? And we got together and we've really just been able to talk to one another and go deeper into, what our motive is and where we're going and how we're focusing and constantly refocusing our energy into doing what we desire to do. But in recognizing that and noticing that, Randy has over the past number of months seen difference, in his energy levels. He's training for this big, long ride from Seattle to San Diego, which is going to happen in September. So he's proactive. He's doing the things that he needs to do, but at the same time, he's still feeling mentally, emotionally, physically, things that he can't really quite explain, and even the work that he's done and all the work that he's gone through, there's still a struggle. So there's a part of it that he can articulate, and he's recognizing that, okay, something's off, something's not right in my body, something's not right. I'm doing all of this stuff, but I'm still not feeling that Randy, that oomph that I normally get and live in. So Randy, do you want to do a little bit of sharing about I guess a couple of months back we were noticing this, but the past couple of weeks you were saying, right, that you really...
Yeah, the past couple of weeks, it's just like, agitation is right on the forefront. And my patience has gone out the window and I can't let things go. Tuesday after paint night, I got an argument with Kathy and the next one I had to apologize. It's not like me because it's like, we all have triggers.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes we know what that trigger is, sometimes we don't. But sometimes those triggers, they're real subtle. Mm-hmm. That's even in my book. They come at you real subtly, and when they hit, it's too late. Mm-hmm. So I'm I guess reacting rather than responding in a lot of situations.
At this point.
At this point right now, yeah. and I don't do that. I usually respond. I usually just listen, and I can have a good conversation with somebody. My head, I'm just being real transparent because that's what I talk about. We have to be transparent. My head hasn't been feeling right. I've known something's wrong. Something's been off. I told my wife that. I even told the people last week. I've been talking to Kathy a lot. Something's wrong, Kathy. Something's not right. This is not who I am. And understand, my clinical diagnosis is the major anxiety disorder and bipolar 1. And it's been perfectly under control. I've been great, and I got all the coping mechanisms. And lately, today when I did I love my doc. I went in there and I says, something's not right. So I talked to him a little bit. He goes, okay, we're going to do 2 real quick tests, right? And my depression kicked back in, and my anxiety, and I felt the depression, and I force myself to get out of bed in the morning when I don't want to get out of bed, and I keep doing. I keep doing things I know that would naturally kick my endorphins in to make them feel better. Those feel good endorphins. I keep doing.
So the exercising, the physical movement, right. but even like your journaling, you do your journaling, you do your prayer work, you do those things that normally serve you, right?
I do all those things that normally serve me. I'm not. It'd be real easy not to. My prayer life has been weak lately, and I know that, and people know that, and I'm working on it. We go through cycles. I don't care who you are. We're going to go through cycles.
I think that's natural. Look at nature. Nature does these cycles too, and I think we have to accept that.
You all heard me. I know a lot of you have heard me. You've been listening to me not only with Topeka but by myself for the last several years. Is that transcranial magnetic stimulation changed my life radically. There's a system. It's magnetic. It works phenomenal. You do have to go back in occasionally for a tune-up. So when I went to my doc today, it's the first thing he says: "Why don't you consider getting another treatment of TMS?" So I'm going to do that here in 2 weeks. The 31st, I got an appointment. So I'll go on and talk to him and get this transcranial magnetic stimulation. I don't want to have to use meds, and my doctor knows that. He's really good about that. And believe me, I'm not saying that for everybody transcranial magnetic stimulation will work. First of all, that needs to be, there's an evaluation that the psychiatrists need to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't. The problem is that when you, one of the questions was, you don't feel like living, or you don't feel like you're working. And when you answer every day, there's a problem, But and I have everything in the world to live for.
Right.
I'm surrounded by friends that love me and care for me, that support me. I got a beautiful wife. I got great children. This guy's got it all. And when I say I got it all, I'm talking about everything that sustains
outside of him.
Outside, okay.
Could I ask you a question?
Yeah,
I mean, like one of the things, when we were discussing, and I think I'm saying it because, I think a lot of us go through that. Is so here is Randy's recognized that he's not himself and he needs external help. So he's been working with somebody for a long time. Some of you might not be working with anybody, and you're going, okay, I just don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to cope with this. And then the other part of it, the reason why he's going to go through what he's going to go through is also to recognize where it's coming from, because he hasn't been able to articulate where that is coming from at this moment. With all the deep work that he's done, there's certain things like you just mentioned about triggers. There's certain triggers that we recognize, like I recognize now at this point in my life, right? Okay, what my trigger is in terms of looking for a partner, and where that would be successful for me or where it wouldn't be successful for me. So I'm recognizing that particular trigger that would support me or not. But there's a lot of things that you will not find. So in this case for Randy, I guess talk a little bit about because you're feeling something which there is also that I don't know aspect of it, and it's okay to have that, but then also that's where it's all these years of therapy and all these years of help and support that you've been getting that you need to ask and reach out. But for those individuals who don't, and to recognize that because there's something wrong, so obviously you've gone out, but then also I guess my question is more along the lines of, can you just talk more into it, because it's okay not to know something that you're feeling.
But I want to. The really important part here too. There's a biochemistry concept to all this.
Absolutely.
That if you suffer trauma of any kind, your brain goes haywire, and it's been proven statistically and all that scientifically. And my psychiatrist, he told me that 3 years ago. I really made a difference in how I looked at things. And so, for me, it's like, you might not know where it's coming from. You might not know what triggered it. I can look at my history right now. I can look and go, okay, what's been going on? I know I'm busy. I got a lot of things going on, and I'm tired. I know that. I know I'm tired. But this is more, and I really feel the way it came on, the way that I feel, it's more the biochemistry side of depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at. Because I can search, I can do all that for me. Now remember, 12 years and I've done a lot of work, and I can look at a lot of different things. And there's a lot going on. There absolutely is there's a boatload of crap going on in my life. We can't argue that point.
So when you say a lot going on, I mean, I'm presuming there's in every aspect.
Because we got this. I got my book right now. We're working on getting that book.
You've got the Courageous Healers, you've got the ride coming up, you've got fundraisers,
Celebrate Recovery. Mm-hmm. I got all the people I'm mentoring and couples I'm mentoring.
Then your family.
And then I got my family.
And then you got family issues.
Yeah.
It comes into it, part of it, right? Part of the package, right?
Yeah. So it's a lot on my plate, and I won't argue that. And the reality is, that's why I'm feeling depressed and anxious right now. But I don't know that. I don't. It might play a part into me being tired, but I feel, because it's not. I can describe a feeling. That's not a problem. What I can't describe is a feeling in my head. That not being an emotional feeling. The feeling of wanting to explode. The feeling of when somebody says something or disagrees with me, where it's just like,
Well, both of us had it the other day.
Yeah.
We got together on Tuesday, and you know that was
two sickles don't
something.
make a well.
Hey, you know, but and it's recognizing, and then I think it's recognizing that because and because of the way we are able to talk, you know, we're able to be okay with it.
Right.
But I think those individuals who don't have those skills, you know, that's where things get triggered on the other side too, and then we end up making it mean something, you know.
See, Tuesday night, here's, and you're right. People don't have people. You and I, we got people, and we're also aware that usually, like with Kathy on Tuesday night, Kathy was just being my wife.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't her that I got mad at. It was within me.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you know, something that I felt devalued, right? And usually that feeling, I just blow away. It's my wife. It's Kathy. She's just talking. She was asking a question, no problem. But I felt at that moment, I felt devalued. She wasn't devaluing me in any fashion or shape.
And then we had that conversation earlier with me on Tuesday too.
Yeah,
you know, where that same feeling came up for you there too, right?
Yeah, it's just so we have to be, and I wouldn't know that if it wasn't for all the work we've done.
Right.
I wouldn't know that, and so a lot of people out there they haven't done any work. They're afraid to speak up. If I speak up, I'm gonna appear weak and, you know, docile, and I can't keep my life together. And man, get over it. I hate saying that. I shouldn't have said that.
No.
You need we all need a good mentor. We all need a good mentor to walk us through life and deal with these situations, because whoever taught you how to deal with them.
Yeah. And also, and not only just deal with them, I think sometimes, you know, it's like that, you know, being a coach, and I have clients that come to me and they're having to make big decisions in their life.
Yeah.
Big decisions. And, you know, with all the feelings that comes up, and I'm like going, look, hey, watch the emotions, be aware of them, but follow through. Right? It's like this thing, like I was saying to you, like, hey, I had my emotions this morning, but following through. So, but I have a support mechanism here. Right, where it makes me do what I need to do, follow through, and it's important. But if we're ashamed about something, and we're ashamed to not, you know, we're ashamed to be vulnerable, then we can't do that. We can't follow through. We can't be accountable. We can't be held responsible.
Hey, I won't mention names, but there's somebody I'm mentoring. This person acted inappropriately. I mean, not in a bad way, but just this person was ashamed. And I think it was more guilt as I talked to this person, that the way he acted, the way he talked to the spouse, and he was afraid to call me. Mm-hmm. And that was himself, and he didn't want to. And he did say, you know, I didn't want to be a disappointment to you. I said, dude, you're not a disappointment. You know, you're a human being, mm-hmm. And we're on this recovery journey. And we're going to trip and we're going to fall. Everybody out there, I mean, you and I, we have years of behavior that we think is going to go away overnight. No, it's going to take time. And so it's having that type of a mentor, and they're out there. I'm looking for one myself. They're out there where don't ever be afraid to call me and think that I'm going to be disappointed in you. You're a human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, you're aware of the actions that you did wasn't right, and you know that. We're talking about it now, and here's the steps you can take to rectify it. But how many people have a person in their life like that? I mean, I didn't have parents to teach me how to do that.
No, I didn't have friends to do that. All my friends were like, they were, you know, part of my company.
Have another beer.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a girl over there, man. You know, let's go say hi to her. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
So it's there's that fear factor and the trust factor, and it's like these people trust me, but there's still that I don't want to disappoint them. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I think it's our job to reassure people that no, you're not going to disappoint us.
Right.
You're on a healing journey. And we're going to walk it with you, and we're going to walk you through whatever mistakes you make, period. You know?
And then even the mistakes, I think they're all just learning. I mean,
Yes.
even and I'm just saying, I mean, it's not
No,
a wrong or right or
no,
wrong,
it's not.
in the language, but I think it's sometimes we think of a mistake. I know I do. I think of a mistake and I'm so ashamed of it. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I did that. I
But let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go on.
Is it a shame or guilt? No, you got to be careful with that
And
one.
I think it's and every situation is different, but I think some of it is shame, and then some of it is guilt.
So let's sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
let's play with shame and guilt. What's the meaning of shame?
You're gonna give it to me.
Shame is I shouldn't be here. I am a mistake. I am a mistake.
So can I talk into that then? Because the thing is, in that shame, and then you're gonna go into guilt because the shame, because it comes up for me.
Okay.
It comes up for me because then it comes up for me that I shouldn't be here and talking about this. Right. So for me, whether it comes in my personal life or whether it comes in even in my I would say even in some aspects in my in my professional life. But I think sometimes it's I'm blessed that I always kind of go, okay, be vulnerable, be transparent, and talk about it,
right,
and give people freedom, to talk about their shame. But it still comes up. Well, still, there's a hesitance, and there's that feeling of wanting to disappear. So,
like, for instance, you shouldn't be talking today.
Yeah.
So that's what we call the imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. It's called the imposter syndrome.
Right.
Who says, and that is shame, yeah. And who's telling you that? Okay. Mm-hmm. Where guilt is, like on another level, guilt is this. I did something wrong. Mm-hmm. Not I am wrong, mm-hmm. But I made a mistake.
That's I had guilt. That too.
Well, yeah. So I think it's really important because a lot of people get the two mixed up.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed. Why are you ashamed? Well, I did this. I go, so you made a mistake? Mm-hmm. So let me explain the difference between shame and guilt. Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess I'm just guilty then. That word shame is a vile word. Mm-hmm. It really is a vile word. I know it. We know how it used to make us feel and how it can still make us feel.
Yeah, it comes up for me a lot. It comes up for me a lot.
But the question is, and we talked about this a little last week, who's telling you that? Mm-hmm. Who's telling you that lie? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't, remember, as we talked last week, it doesn't have to be a verbal voice. Yeah. It could be a physical action somewhere along the line that happened to you that says, I'm
or something even passively, right?
Passively,
even because it can, it might not come from your parents, it might not come from your sibling, but it could have come from a friend. It could have come from a teacher or something a conversation that you even overheard, or even a movie. There's something that come up and it resonated with you, and now it's like locked away and under key and cover in your head somewhere, right? Yeah. It can be anything.
Or at school, you're never picked for the A team. You're always on the B team, so you feel worthless. Yeah. Well, who told you you're worthless? Because you got picked for the B team, be the best B player you can be, you get moved to the A team. But if you don't have a family support system, it's hard.
Yeah. I'm not saying that your families are wrong, or it's not. Again, it's recognizing that.
Let's say this right now. I think we say it all the time. When we talk about families or parents, and I talk with all my guys and the couples we talk with this. We don't want you to hate your parents or your family. We want you to understand them. And a lot of times the root of our problem is our family, and we don't want to talk about it because they're my family. If I talk bad about my family,
but that's shame and guilt right there.
That's shame and guilt. So you got if you have resentment, we got to talk about it so that you can love your family in a way that you never thought possible.
Right. And acknowledge the resentment. Yeah. I think that's actually a huge one. Resentment's a huge one, and especially when it comes up without, current place, of feeling, because that resentment, is built up just because of your own belief mechanism, beliefs, I would say, beliefs and judgments and assumptions.
Right.
Of something, the way something should be, so then now you're resentful of something that didn't turn out the way you want it to turn out. So now you're gonna, just start behaving different towards that loved one that you once upon a time loved. So how did that love change? Look at that. Because, and I always say to my clients, I love you because I love the way I feel right now. And the minute I don't like you is I don't love who I am being right now. So I don't love you because I don't love who I'm being right now. I mean, that's a huge statement, like right there, because if love is all there is and caring and nurturing is all there is, then where does the other stuff come from? It's not from outside of you. It's something that is the way you're observing it or seeing it. But is it true?
Is it true? Is it true? And if you say, okay, we'll go a little fun on this one.
Sure.
Is it true? Well, yeah, okay. Well, who said it was true? And most importantly, is it absolutely true? I don't think a lot of things we think is true can be absolutely true in our life, especially when we're thinking the thoughts about ourselves.
Or others.
Or others, yeah, exactly.
But ultimately, if it's about others, it's about yourself too.
Absolutely, something within us.
Yeah.
Something within us. But back to the coping skills with me, and kind of on this, the question you asked me earlier. Because I could choose, like you, I'm having a bad day, I'm not coming today, I just call her up and tell her I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deal with it.
Deal with it, you figure it out.
I know you can.
I know you got it, That would be maladaptive. Just sitting and squandering in my pity, which I don't want to do because it does no good. So with all the positive coping skills that I have, this morning I rode my bike and I got on it. It was hard, but I feel good afterwards, at least for a period of time. At least when I'm on the bike, I get away from it. Even my daughter's going through some stuff right now. I'm just calling her and working on with her problem, about her problem, right? I could pick up my guitar at home. I could play my guitar on a couple different levels. My dogs, I love my dogs. So just having them around the house when I'm at home and just sitting with them a lot of times is a great coping mechanism because I think Aisha, they pick up, and it's like
Aisha's amazing.
Yeah, they're amazing animals. When you're going through it, and your dogs are part of your family, they're gonna help you go through it. So, it's if you don't have any positive coping skills, it's gonna be hard to start practicing them. Because even with all the positive coping skills I got,
here you are.
Huh?
Here you are.
Here I am. And exactly. It's the feeling in my head's not going away. I tell Topeka, and I told Kathy on Monday night or Tuesday night at the paint night, I went to my wife. I said, "I'm so uncomfortable here tonight. Around all these people that I know, all these people that support me, I felt so uncomfortable, and I haven't felt that way in a long time. No, it's all part of whatever's going on, biochemically, psychologically. It's a combination of everything. But I could have ran. I could have gone to the bar and had a drink. But after 12 years of not drinking, that would have been a good idea.
That would have definitely not been a good idea.
And plus, here's the other thing for those that do this. That doesn't fix your problem. The problem doesn't go away. Because when you wake up the next day, the problem's still there. And sometimes it could be even worse. Because what did you do while you were drunk or high the night before or the day before, right?
Right.
So go for a walk, hiking. I mean, if you believe in a higher power, the bump and crying, I know it's hot right now. I really do understand that. But early in the morning or around the neighborhood,
or wherever you are,
find
something, go somewhere. I talk to my mom all the time, and I move.
Yeah.
Get some, get the energy flowing, get the endorphins flowing, get your chemistry moving. And I think a lot of times because of our lifestyle and type of things that we choose, or we do, right? I mean, we choose to do, or maybe we don't choose to do it when we're in that position. That's our only option. But still do it. Get out. And I know it's hard. But nurture yourself. What does nurturing yourself look like? Nurturing yourself is not necessarily just go and get your nails done. Again, that's just material. Getting your hair done, as nice as it is. But nurture yourself. What's in the way?
Well, I read this, and it's the problem. There's problem-focused skills, right? There's three main categories. problem focus, which remove the source of a problem by changing or eliminating the stressor behind it. Or the emotional.
But that's if you know what it is, right? That's like when if you know, in Randy's case, he's not sure where this is coming from. So, that's where he's going to go for his treatment for his TMS. Yeah. But in your case, if you know what the problem is, then, okay, how can, one of my mentors always said to me, are you happy in this moment? And if not, why not? Establish what it is. Right. And what you're going to do about it.
So I think that what hit me was that eliminating the stressor behind it. So remove the source of a problem. So, what is the problem? And my evaluation of myself, my praying, the meditating, all that, I don't know. So it can only be one thing at this point in time, biochemically. And so it's like, and I just happen to have this appointment today with perfect timing with my doctor, right? And so it's like, I can sit at home and go, what's going on? I'll just work through this. I'll work through this. I'll work through it. It keeps getting worse. It keeps getting worse. I piss people off. I push people away from me, which a lot of people do because they're unaware of their self.
Right.
And so, and I understand a lot of people can't afford psychologists, psychiatrists. But that's, I had that appointment. I went in and said, I don't know what's wrong with me this time. I can't figure it out. This is what's going on. It's okay, not a problem. So I'm taking positive action to change that. And it's not just with him, that's part of it. But it's to keep doing the things that I'm doing that are good for me.
I also believe, I don't know, because you're doing the things that you're doing, but also you change something, because if you continue doing the same thing you do and you get the same result, right, then then you need to change something.
Right.
And I always say to people, like, change one thing. What one thing different that you can do? The one thing different that Randy just did is he reached out and he went and got professional help. Because he's like, okay, what am I not doing that, I'm doing all these things and it's still not helping me do or get what I want to get to. So what's the one thing that I can do, that I can change, that I can shift, that can help give me that hope or possibility of something new coming in? But if you're doing the same thing and it's not working, and it's then that's what I'm saying, nurturing yourself. It's like okay, for example, there's a certain point that the body does need to rest, right? For you're training. I'm going to be training. I'm going to start training this week, and after this weekend, I'm going to start training. And but when you're training so hard, when I went to the Himalayas, I trained for 8 months, and I remember training something, but I was training so hard and not resting enough. All of a sudden, like a month and a half before I was traveling, I couldn't do anything, and my body just needed rest, in complete and utter rest. That's what it needed. So sometimes it's also recognizing what your body needs and what your body doesn't need, and then being able to step out of it too.
Right, and that's one thing. I got a really good trainer too, and he recognizes the fact that there's just sometimes you just gotta say, my body's, it's not working today.
How many different mentors do you have? Like,
how
many different mentors, coaches? You've got your people with your book. You've got your personal trainer. You've got you have people who are helping you with your nutrition and your health, your wellness stuff. Then you've got obviously your therapists. Who else have you got outside of yourself that support you in being and showing up, being able to show up for you? You have your spiritual mentors.
I have my spiritual mentors, right? What I like we talked about, I think last week, you and I were talking about. Here's also is that as you go on this recovery journey, if we're moving forward, we're moving up, right? So my original sponsor, Waste Purpose Dave, I know I could pick up the phone anytime and he'll be there for me. And this isn't against Waste Purpose Dave because he's a phenomenal sponsor. He's changed my life, but I'm needing more. And so it's finding the right combination for me. So I just, there are certain people that I can talk to in the recovery world that will help me. The spiritual part, I got a couple of people, the spiritual part that will help me. That's the most important part.
For you.
And that you're right. And actually, my therapist, Deborah Mons Pearson, she's probably my number one go-to mentor when I need her, it always works out. Because she's slammed.
Mm.
But every time I need her, I call. I know she's slammed. She's like, just had a cancellation. Come on in.
Nice.
Right.
She'll reach out and
Yeah. So she's so that, you know. So I'm working with a lot of people. You know, on the cycling part, all them guys are riding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're all
supporting you.
I say this, and this is very important. I want you all to really, really take this to heart. Think about this, and get it. Just get it instilled in you that everybody in your life is a teacher. Everybody that's come across your life is a teacher. Whether it was for a minute, a day, a month, or a year, you're learning something from everybody we talk to on a daily basis.
Good or bad.
Good or bad. You know.
Indifferent.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything that happens to us is a lesson. So instead of whining and moaning about something that happened to us that we feel is unfair, well, it's so unfair. How many times should you have gone to jail? We want to talk about unfairness, right? And I don't know who I'm talking to, so I'm just throwing that out there. So everybody and everything is a lesson. What can you learn from a situation that happened to you? Don't just look at the bad. Why does it have to be bad, or why does it have to be good? Why can't it just be a lesson? Why can't we just learn from it? You know? Yeah.
Whether it was outside of you or whether it was inside of you.
It doesn't
really matter.
Being open-minded and willing to learn is the key to solid. So.
And I mean, the reason why I was asked Randy of, you know, like how many mentors does he have, and you know, how many people does he work with? I mean, just like myself, I work with several myself. I have a spiritual mentor, I have a health mentor, I have a nutrition. I mean, even with all the work that I do, you know, I have those people who are, you know, working with me. I have a business mentor. You know, I have a personal mentor helping me with personal relationships. And this is not to say I'm broken. This is just to say that I am committed to having an outstanding life. And my goal and my desire is that in knowing that I can have that outstanding life, and I deserve an outstanding life. You know, I think that's where this comes into it, is that self-worth. Because if you're having coping mechanisms and you have the maladaptive coping mechanisms, ultimately you're saying that you're not worthy of anything better. Right? Whatever that might be, whatever your desire might be. This is not about earning riches or earning, you know, having a certain status in community or in the social world or whatever that might be. But just being really real, you know, am I really worthy of having that, you know, that divine health, prosperity, love?
That's such a good question. Because people all the time, I'm not worthy. Why am I worthy of it? Why me?
You might not say it in that sense, but you know, it's that whole thing. Why me? Yeah, why me?
Why me?
You know, you know, why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why am I struggling like this? You're asking the wrong question.
I said, what can I learn from this? How about you know, this is uncomfortable as heck. I don't like going through this. We don't like going through the stuff we go through. I'm telling you, I don't like going through what I'm going through right now.
I'd rather not, right?
Believe me, I don't want this. You know. So, you know, the question is not why, but what. What can I learn from this? Because it's a lesson. We put ourselves in these positions. You know, what we say in the program, you have, with the exception of abuse, you have a part in everything that happens to you in your life, period. So what's your part in whatever you're going through, negative, positive, whatever it might be, what's your part in it?
Right, because if you're thinking about coping mechanism, it's self-abuse.
Yeah, self-abuse is a maladaptive coping mechanism.
Yeah, and it happens in several ways and several forms. I mean, okay. So let's go from something that's a very small thing to a big thing, right? You know, so someone who, you know, the coping mechanism could end up, you know, I guess I'm going to talk in the eating world, you know, because the coping mechanism, okay, I'm just going to eat this. It's okay, right? All right, you have it once. You know, eating one bad thing does not kill you.
No.
But eating one bad thing every single time you eat it will build up, and then we do have a problem. We have a problem on our hands. On a one bad thing you eat, and if it really has a difference on your chemistry, for example, someone like Randy who had alcohol addiction, if he had that one bad thing of having sugar and then having it time and time again, that is a chemical imbalance in Randy because of the background that he has, and that could trigger him in so many other different ways. So
they're thinking bad about myself.
Well, thinking bad, but also on a chemical level, it's going to change your chemistry, right? So here you are, and you're thinking, okay, because sugar. I mean, sugar is a addictive thing, and it tastes very good on the lips and the tongue, right, and in your mouth for a moment, and then it goes into your body. And what it does into your body is a whole different thing. Once in a while, there's nothing wrong with it. I am not saying that, hey, and if you're ready for it and to make that decision to go, okay, you know what, I'm ready to make the decision of cutting out sugar in my life, and I can do it, then, okay, absolutely, that's the way of going. But the reason I'm saying it is I'm talking from something that could be small as a maladaptive, but then something also that can be big as a behavior, and that can destroy you, right? But if we say if it's on a regular basis, if Randy was to have it and not have a control on his body and not have an understanding of his body, it would build up to the point where it would give you other cravings, which would also lead to another something else, and then also the chemical imbalance that would lead in your physicality, right? To the brain, with what you're doing. So then that would affect your riding, right. That would affect your and it goes on. Now, an extreme case, okay, so someone who is self-harming,
cutting,
yeah.
They'd rather feel the physical pain than the emotional pain they're going through. Right. It's easier for them to deal with.
Right. And then what else could there be? I mean, what else was coping mechanism for you?
On the positive or the negative?
Give it either. I mean, because again, there's no positive or negative. It's recognizing what you have, right? So, I don't think it's...
Well, maladaptive. Let's say
yeah.
Maladaptive would be... just thinking I was more than I was. It's been, I made a lot of money. My wife, we were pretty well off for a while. It was still okay, but I had a lot of money, cash all the time. So going out and buying stuff, so I was better than the next guy. Right. If you got, for instance, this is a hypothetical situation, but I'll put it in perspective. If you have a Porsche 914, I'm going to go out and buy a Porsche 911 Target Force S4.
For joining us. Just
because I want to outdo you by one, because I'm more important than you. So that's another way. Spending money that you might have, but you don't really have to spend. It should be spent somewhere else. So that's a very big maladaptive coping skill.
Yeah, I have that too.
Yeah, well, I think part of the problem is I know for me in particular, when you're used to living at a certain level and then that level's taken away from you, that adjustment period. It's hard.
So that hit you hard in no time, right?
Yeah, it hit us really hard.
But I think, if it was to come around again, to come around again, right? Or you're going through that experience, you're like, we're going through our own experiences, going through what we're doing. But, if it was to come around again, now what are you making it mean?
Right. What am I making it mean at this point in time? It ain't about me. The only time it could be about me is if I have a part in it and I go do stupid stuff that's going to make me lose everything I got. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, if I go out and start drinking again, start chasing women again, and I'm married, I do that, I will lose everything that I have. And so, whose fault is that? It's mine. Yeah. And why am I doing it? What's going on? So the question is, I go back to recovery. What triggered me to make me want to do that? Right. What was going on? That's psychological, I believe. There could be some biochemical.
I think biochemical too, absolutely, but definitely psychological.
Yeah, what's going on within me? So I can't blame. Hey, I lost my house, I lost my wife, I lost everybody. I can't blame that on nobody.
I know we didn't get a chance to look at a time, but our time is coming up to our live feed is coming to halt shortly, but I hope if you're listening, for those individuals who joined us, I'm afraid I didn't get to see your name pop up because you might have been seeing it from another page. But be sure to like our Love Your Life Story page so that you can actually follow us and we can see any questions or any concerns or even any comments. We welcome them with open arms, and that's really important for us as we're moving forward and sharing and answering questions. So I wanted to say thank you for that. Is there anything that you wanted to share, Randy, before we create a new topic and to talk about something that we can move forward from?
It's just I think the hardest thing that we humans have to do is to open up and reach out for help, because society's instilled a lot of negative thoughts in all of us. Don't cry, don't show your feelings, don't show your emotions, suck it up, figure it out on your own. And so that's ingrained in so many of us, especially men, and also I say especially men, but it's
men and women.
It's just as much in women.
It's an equal part.
So it's just find somebody safe. How's it working for you, what you're doing right now? I mean,
start somewhere. I don't think it's even a case of find. I think it's just start somewhere.
Yeah, just
do
start
something.
Somewhere.
I mean, because even in finding somebody, hey, I have worked with several people for myself, and I will go, okay, you're not it. Let's move to the next one. And sometimes I get disheartened, and I'm like, oh my God, I just forget it. It's not even worth it. But I still go back, push through it, even on that uncomfortableness and see uncomfortableness. I push through it, and I'm willing to go and see if I can find somebody else.
Here's one thing that I'll say, very bold. A lot of people go, I went to the therapist, they didn't help. Well, did you do everything they asked you to do? No, because I thought it was stupid. There lies a problem, not the therapist, okay, or the coach, or whoever it is. You're going to people for help, and you're going to be asked to do things that are uncomfortable.
Or that you don't want to do.
Simple
as that you don't want to do.
Yeah, you don't want to
do.
I've
had that. You had that? Things that you don't want to do, and you're like, what?
I've dug my heels in with Deborah more than once, but I always did it.
You did it.
She honored it.
Yeah.
She really, and I honor her with my guys too. It's like, we're gonna come back to this, okay? So don't think I'm gonna let it go right now. So the key to any kind of recovery, and let's distinguish recovery. It's not alcohol and drugs. It's not food. It's not
sex.
gambling.
It's not gambling.
Sex. Recovery is recovering yourself, finding your true, authentic self, who you were created to be. Okay, because a lot of society's been diluted with drugs, alcohol, and then we define ourselves by what other people say we should be doing. What do you want?
And then through that we don't like ourselves.
Yeah.
So we create this self-hatred, self-loathing, devaluation, self-worth, all of those things.
Yeah.
And now are you surprised that you're not enjoying the life that you once upon a time you thought you did? You thought you did based on other people's wishes and.
Oh, but that's not me. Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about you.
No, you're not. Because you don't look at you. You don't know me. I got everything I want.
Good.
Then why do you keep fighting with your family? Why is your wife pushing you away? Why do your kids not want to talk to you?
Yeah.
Why are they just down? Why don't they want to come around?
Right.
I thought you said you had it all together and you had everything you want in life. Do you really? I mean, I'm going to be that blunt. Do you really? If money and prestige is all that you want, okay, fine. Then we don't need to talk, I guess. Right? Well, maybe we do.
When you're ready. When you're ready. I think it's just a food for thought, right? All we want to do is that. I know Randy, and I know for myself. All I know is that once upon a time I had a life experience which was miserable, and I disliked being there, and I disliked experiencing that. But when I looked at myself in a deeper way, and I continue to look at myself in a deeper way, how can I change that? How can I shift that? How can I transform that? How can I transcend that? How can I transmute that into love, right? Into kindness, into compassion, into understanding, into forgiveness, right? And even forgiveness doesn't need to look like, okay, I need to live with that person. Forgiveness is just
Well,
forgiveness themselves. That's a whole different
I'll do a
conversation.
whole workshop on forgiveness.
We are
A whole workshop on that one.
a couple of days. Hey, it's not a one-day thing, right? But so, what I think the next conversation, because sometimes like the next conversation is maybe we can have about just creating that community.
Yeah,
and
supporting
we
people in the
touched
community.
base on it a little bit
I think
today,
it's important.
but kind of having that conversation about that, because I think sometimes we focus on what's going on, what's not right in our life. So we want to change it up a little bit, and let's focus on what we do want in life, right? What we do desire, what we do dream of, right? Not what we need and what we want. And like that want and need are two different things, and then the desire and the aspiration of having something new, something beyond what you think was possible is a whole different thing, right? I need a roof over my head, right? I need a car to get from A to B,
Right.
right? But that doesn't mean I need a Porsche Lamborghini or whatever,
No.
to get me to A. It's not like I need a mansion.
And the reality is, you really don't need a car. You can
No,
walk.
you can walk it. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Not in this bloody weather. Though.
Excuse me?
Oh my God, this bloody weather is like kills you. But yeah, my point is, there was a difference in want and need, and we can talk about in the next conversation of support people in the community is how do we desire? What does that look like? What could that possibly feel like? Let's go there. Let's have that conversation. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
I want to leave you with a question.
Absolutely,
Not a
please
question. Not a question, a statement. This old codger told me one day, Randy, you have the power to change the world within you. You have the power to change the world within you. So I want to tell all of you, and you're going to think it's crazy, I want you to think about this. You all have the power to change the world within you. It's true. It's not false. It's not fake. It's not a trick question. You do have the power to change the world within you. When you can figure that riddle out, let us know. And if nobody tells you that they love you today, Randy does.
And Deepika does. And thank you so much. Like us, share us. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Thursday. We'll go back to our normal time, 11 a.m. And that's it, I guess.
That's it.
Namaste. Remember, love your life story. That's what we want you to be.
YouTube channel also. Go like our
Oh,
YouTube channel.
YouTube.
Subscribe to our
There you
YouTube
go.
channel.
He did have something to say. I knew it. Love your life story, everybody.
Out.
We're out.